They're buggy, they're nerdy, they're talking six legs, buzzing on the airwaves with their field note pegs. From beetles to bees, they just can't get enough. Geeking out on bugs, yeah, the nerdy stuff. Not for fame, not for clout, just because they care. It's the Bugcast boys and girls, science in the air.
Today's episode of the BCE podcast is sponsored by Fumigation Service and Supply. FSS is built on three pillars: services, products, and education, delivering science-based pest management for store, food, and commodities. From fumigation and grain protection to monitoring systems, application equipment, and training, FSS partners with entomologists and applicators as experts in global food protection. FSS, protecting product integrity, compliance, and brand trust.
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the BCE podcast where there's no ifs, ands, or bugs about it. I'm your amazing host, Adam Holt. We've got your more amazing co-host in the house right here, Shell Hartzer.
Woohoo! Hey, folks.
And we have such an honorable guest in the house, Ethan Estabrook.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
We've got to get sound effects for this. Like, we got to get the little cheering sound effects when we do this now.
Love it.
I mean, whatever you want to do, I'm happy to do it, Shell. So you can help me out, please, and thank you.
All right, stay tuned for the next podcast. We will do this.
Okay, I'm not really good at that stuff. Okay. And for everybody listening, this is a platform for all of those future nerdy entomologists out there to come and listen and maybe figure out what path or journey you want to take with that entomology or science background. So again, if you want to get your BCE, you have to have at least that degree, a bachelor's degree, as well as 3 years of experience in the industry, whatever that looks like. So without further ado, Ethan, please give us your everything, everywhere, all at once, nutshell version of your background.
Wow, that's overwhelming. That's a lot at once.
All at once, everything, everywhere.
Talk fast.
Well, I guess, thanks for having me on. This is a pretty cool opportunity, and it's fun to kind of connect with other bug nerds as well. But kind of looking back, I think I've always been interested in creepy crawlies. I went to Purdue University. I worked in the herpetology lab there, which is the study of reptiles and amphibians. And so I got to go out, catch snakes, and worked with rattlesnakes on collecting blood samples.
What's your favorite one, real quick?
Oh, gosh.
Jumping the gun here.
That's a loaded question. That's a loaded question.
Not favorite bug, favorite because you were a herpetologist. So what's your favorite amphibian?
Oh, man. So I'd say being from Indiana, I did a lot of work with eastern box turtles. They are such a cool species. They're super long-lived. They can live to 120 years old, which seems crazy, as a living organism, just moving around here. And I mean, right now, as I look outside, it's like 20 degrees outside, and it's just a wonder how some of these insects, reptiles, amphibians survive and overwinter. It's just crazy to think about.
Or the arachnids, because your turtles get ticks.
Right. And so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and it's one of my favorite ones is we did a lot of work with the timber rattlesnake, and so that was pretty exciting, being able to catch a big venomous snake, and some of them were had an attitude, I'd say.
Very nice. Okay, sorry. Back to your everything, everywhere, all at once from Purdue.
From Purdue University. Born and raised in East Central Indiana. I've been here most of my life. Working in the herpetology department. Got to travel across Indiana. Worked with Eastern hellbenders. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those.
Those are so cool.
What's a hellbender for everybody listening?
One of their common other names is called a snot otter. They are about a 2.5 foot slimy glob of mess, and they live in rivers, like well oxygenated rivers. So they want that super cool temperature. They don't want a whole lot of turbidity that kicks up some of the gravel and silt and stuff. And so that was a really unique experience. I mean, for one summer, I got paid to go swimming in a river in Indiana with a snorkel, just flipping around rocks looking for these 2-foot salamanders. So that was a really
My next question is going to be did you ever come across any? Did they have any cool ectoparasites? What did you find while you were snorkeling? Sorry, I'm just like a kid right now. I got to stop.
It's so cool.
I need to have a drink.
Right, and and we still do it today. I mean, we go out, we go out kayaking. We have a couple drinks. I put the snorkel on. I'm swimming underneath log jams, and it's a whole different world under there. You see just turtles, map turtles swimming around, catfish. The catfish are pretty brave. They don't move around. You can physically like swim up and touch them, and so it's just a whole different world. I think one of the coolest things
new world,
right? One of the coolest things that we saw when like flipping over rocks. It would be all the crawdads and crayfish. They would shoot out, and then we would get a school of smallmouth bass following us upriver because they knew that every time we'd flip a rock over, they were getting some of these crawdads that shoot out, and
such a smart little fish.
Yeah, so that was a really cool experience, and I think coming from that type of creepy crawly background, gotten into entomology and have been there. Really ever since.
So give us a little bit of a background of timeline. Like when was that? How long you been in it?
Yeah, so graduated in Purdue in 2012. Started with FSS at that same time, and kind of started learning about pest management, especially in these more grain, food processing type of facilities, animal feed mills, flour mills. And so really got involved with the stored product insects. And it's kind of a unique world because I don't think a whole lot of people work with it. As you know, Shell, there's a lot of stored product insects. They're all super tiny. They're all the same color, but they all are
about the same size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're hard to see. They're this.
I mean, did you say this big?
they're this big.
Are we talking about stored product pests? They're tiny,
right?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. And so, kind of being able to work with them for some time, it was really kind of cool to see their impact on, I guess, a range of industries. I mean, it's from the farm level, from the farmers kind of collecting grain out in the field to the grain elevators, the flour millers, and then it goes even into the warehouse and even the retail and the home setting. So it encompasses that whole super wide range industry.
So what exactly is your position now at FSS, and kind of give us the quick version of what you do for them? Yeah,
so I'm in a national sales role, which I don't even like being considered a sales guy. And so I guess when this job offer kind of became available, I kind of went and talked to the owners, and I was like, hey, I don't want to act like a sales guy, but I like to nerd out about insects, and I like talking about the chemistries of some of the different products that people can use, and I think a lot of people respect that. I mean, they respect that, all that information and education that you're willing to present, and I guess kind of on the other side, people are willing to purchase and trust people with that level of knowledge and experience. So I think that it does come into connection, but yeah, it does feel kind of weird. So that's what I've been doing for the last year or so. Right before that, I was with Insects Limited, working with insect pheromone lures and trapping systems, making the pheromones. So it's been stored product insects really for the last 13 or so years.
So wait a minute. So Insects Limited was for all of your time since 2012 up until this new role?
So it's a little bit of back and forth. So Insects Limited and FSS were both founded by the same individual, Dave Miller, and he was a pioneer in stored products management, and so Insects Limited and FSS have been in the same building for most of that time period, and more recently, in about the last 2 years or so, there's been a little bit of a split. The owner has retired, and now both sons are kind of taking over each company. And so I've been with the family for that 13 years, working in the same type of environment. Went from more of a service side level to the insect behavioral and behavioral testing side at Insects Limited for 6 years, and now I'm back in FSS in that national sales role. And I've been here for about a year or so.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Michelle, come on. What's the next big question?
Oh, which next big question? Because we've got like 3 next big questions. No,
fair enough.
Okay, so this is obviously about BCEs. We interview BCEs here. So tell us a little bit about when you got the BCE, what your experience with that was, any tips, tricks, everything all at once about your BCE.
Yeah, so
You're learning.
BCE, it was a lot of fun. So at Purdue, I majored in biology, so it wasn't necessarily entomology, and I mean I had a background in biological organisms and how they interact, how that works, and entomology is certainly a part of that, but to kind of study and understand the insect level itself was something that was relatively new for me. And so we had Alan. He unfortunately died of cancer years ago. But at FSS, he was in Insects Limited. He was the lead entomologist. He's from Canada, and he really helped develop a training program for a lot of people in the company to go through and understand physiology, just everything about insects, really. And I guess so. I got the BCE back in. It's hanging up. It's been a while.
You don't have to give us the exact date. It's okay.
Well, I can tell the 27th of May in 2015. So.
All right.
Okay.
But one of the kind of the unique things. So we were traveling quite a bit. One of the things that I used quite a bit was I would listen to insect videos as we were kind of driving around. And there was, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this YouTuber. Nancy, she's on SciBugs. I actually met her at a couple of ESA conferences, and I actually got to thank her because she was helpful in helping me kind of learn about entomology, the insect orders, physiology, just really all of it. So that was
what's
that
her
was
name
a lot
again?
of help. She's from SciBugs, Nancy.
I'm looking her up because I'm going to add her to our new community feed that we have on our YouTube channel for all the study material.
Yeah, and I know she's from, well, shout out. I mean, yeah, she does, I believe.
You said,
you
said Sci what?
SciBugs.
SciBugs. Okay.
Yep. And
I'll find her. So, okay, go ahead.
I think she lives in Ecuador, and she does like eco tours, which is something that I'd love to try to check out. I've not been to South America, and I think that'd be a really cool opportunity to see some of those insects down there.
I mean, yeah. So you got your BCE in what, 2015? So, and obviously you listened to this Nancy lady, which we'll try to post to the community feed later with SciBugs. And so, anything else that you use for studying? Like, did you use any of these? I'm not going to try to like butcher the names, but I'm not going to lie. I did not get, when I studied for my BCE, this is how much I studied. 0. And guess how many times I had to take?
Which we do not encourage.
Wait a minute, though.
Not encourage.
Wait a minute, though. And how many times did I have to take it? 3 times.
It was certainly a tough exam. So the Truman Scientific Guide was something that I used quite a bit. That helped with a lot of the pesticidal questions, some of the chemistries. I got a book hanging up that I used quite a bit. It talked about just general. I'd love to find that book, but yeah, it's mainly a lot about insect orders. It gets into families. And then just general information about it. And then for me, I mean, I study best with flashcards. So I had probably 10 stacks of flashcards, one with like all the different pesticides, the active ingredients, and how they affect the different insects.
Mode of action, yeah.
Yep, mode of action, yep. The insect orders, insect families. And so that just kind of going through that repetition, that really helped me out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I always tell everybody who's listening, my way to take a test is just to go take it the first time and not have that pressure of feeling like you have to pass, right? Because you can definitely, unless things have changed, you can take it, I think, 30 days later again.
Yep.
And so it's like, I mean, honestly, I know it costs money, but I'm like, I can't have the pressure of having to feel like I have to pass it the first time. It's just too much anxiety.
That's a good idea, because I always get anxious kind of leading up to different exams, and I was anxious taking it for that first time. It was tough.
Yes. Yeah. So wait a minute. Did you tell us what specialty you got?
The urban entomology.
Yeah,
urban industrial. Yep.
Urban industrial. That's
what did you get, Shell? I can't remember what you got.
Yeah, mine's urban too.
Okay, mine's just general entomology because I was an idiot and tried to take the medical and veterinary entomology specialty. Oh my God, it was so outdated and so old that when I took it, I was like, forget it.
Now, I will say they are doing a better job about updating the test a little bit more often than every 30 years or so. So,
if you're listening, Will it and everybody, yep, we're getting these updated.
That's great. So, and I guess kind of going off of that, so this new position, I've been trying to work on getting licensed in different states, and some of these state tests are way outdated.
Yeah.
I mean, they're asking about chemistries that have been not used in the past 40 years, and I'm like, this is a test that you have to pass. That it's 40 years outdated information. It's crazy.
Yeah, for everybody listening, and don't quote me on this, but I think Ethan has around 35 licenses in different states. Does that sound about right, Ethan?
It's a lot of them's dealer licenses, but there's a lot of them.
That's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Well, Ethan has done this amazing thing, and they signed up for license with a Y, and so that's going to help him manage all of his licenses now moving forward, which is just an amazing tool.
We love it so far. It's like I said, kind of working on some of those licenses. I was like, this is overwhelming. What's out there to help us organize some of this?
Shelley, I got to throw it in there. So for anybody who wants to learn more about license with a Y,
Product
give
placement.
me a call.
Now, this is Ethan. I'm so glad we're talking to you because you and I both have a similar background in this, and that you have gas. And we don't talk about gas, specifically fumigation, when it comes to pests and pesticides too much, because it is very special and very specialized. So for the folks out there, give them a quick rundown on fumigation, what it is, how we use it.
Yeah, so fumigation, it is categorized as a pesticide. Fumigants, in some respect, are not really considered insecticides because fumigants are different in that they are true gases. So they're not a liquid, or even kind of thinking about fogging. Fogging chemicals go through a fogger, become aerosolized, but they're still small droplets that eventually fall down, come in contact with surfaces, insects start moving around, come in contact with the chemical. True gases, they disperse, they equalize, they can penetrate, which makes them a great tool, but also makes them very dangerous. They're great because they get in all these nooks and crannies and everywhere, and they're bad because they get to places where you don't really want them to get to in some cases. And so you really have to be mindful of where the gas is during an application and making sure there's bystander safety, because some of the concentrations that some of these fumigations are being applied at are 10, 15, 20 times the concentration
20x. Yeah.
that it takes to kill us mammals, and so it's really important on that safety aspect. There's a bunch of different type of safety equipment, SCBAs, self-contained breathing apparatuses, different types of monitors. But yeah, right now there's really maybe 3 or 4 commonly used fumigants. You got the phosphine. There's different formulations: aluminum phosphide, magnesium phosphide, and you got some that's cylinderized. That's probably one of the most common fumigants out there, mainly used for grains, some seed warehouses, sulfuryl fluoride.
Profume, baby.
Profume, yeah.
And Vicane.
And Vicane.
No, actually, Vicane's only residential, though. Profume's commercial commodity. You can't use Vicane.
I know, but we're not talking specifically.
Oh, this is fair. This is fair. Sorry.
That's fair.
This is fair. You might have a house like a customer that has store product pest. You are right. Carpet beetles, bam, kill them.
There you go. Yep.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, Ethan.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine.
This is what this is. This is a very open dialogue, podcast. So, because I worked for Douglas Product as a rep for a year, and I loved it, and so learning about all that was really cool.
Yeah, and you think about all these food processors that get stored product insects, and you don't want to apply a pesticide that's going to come in contact with the food and stay there. The nice thing with the gases, after a period of time, you aerate it, and those gas molecules they leave the food commodity, and so there's not any residual effects from that end.
That's why I think Profume is so, highly desired for a lot of that, right, in the commercial space.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Profume is the only, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the only one labeled for commodity. I don't think there's any other competitor to Profume for commodity.
Well, phosphine is for commodities too, but we can't use it in sites because it's corrosive to precious metals. So
correct. Yep.
If we're doing like Ethan said, like a grain bin of popcorn corn, great, we can use phosphine. But if we're doing like a flour mill, we have to use sulfur fluoride just because of the way it interacts with stuff. So they're both technically registered, but different sites, I would say.
Right. Phosphine at high concentrations can fry all the electrical components, all the soft metals, and so you don't want to go into a big warehouse or a food processor and fry all their computers and stuff. That would not go over super well.
They don't like that.
What do they always say? Fumigation is what they call it. What they supposedly say is a fumigation is one and done, right? Because if you do it right, it's supposed to be one and done.
Yeah, and I think I guess I might be biased a little bit, but that's probably it's expensive, but it is the fastest and most effective way to get back to that zero mark,
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of other methods that might make more sense. I mean, obviously you want to start with the basis on sanitation and exclusion, but if you got to get down to zero and do it quickly, it's a great tool in the toolbox.
And the other cool thing is, especially with fumigants and sulfur fluoride, and like you said, the 20x, depending on the target species, people don't realize there's a lot of science that goes behind this, right? Like, especially all of the different, like, PhD scientists at Douglas, I mean, they test all this stuff on these different target pest species, and they're literally testing to see the efficacy of the sulfur fluoride in the fumigant format and see if it actually penetrates. Is it the operculum, the part of the egg, that, like, where basically they breathe out of? They breathe out of a piece of the... Correct. Yeah. Sorry. The air pile. Thank you.
Yeah.
So they breathe out of this piece of the egg, and so they actually test the fumigant to see if it penetrates that air pile in the egg to actually have the efficacy. It's crazy interesting.
Right. And getting down to kind of entomology and species identification, I mean, you think about the flower beetles. You got the red and confused flower beetle. It takes twice the amount of concentration for sulfuryl fluoride to control red flower beetle eggs. Because of that, because of the air piles in the eggs and the uptake of that gas into them. And so that could be tens of thousands of dollars in fumigant costs for a treatment. And so it's important to get down to that species level.
And what did Ethan just say? Identification is key.
It is.
Right? So we're all entomologists here. We're all BCE. So if you're out there and you need it properly identified, reach out to us.
Yeah. Yeah, working at Insects Limited.
I'm a technician, no offense.
One of the slogans was "Start with the insect first," which you always hold true.
Perfect.
It makes sense. It unlocks so much. I mean, there's already been a lot of research done on a lot of these species, and if you can unlock its biology, you're like, oh well, this chemical or this chemistry makes more sense in this situation. Then that helps you solve difficult problems for customers. So,
and you I was going to say, you can really screw some things up if you don't do it properly. You're treating for something
100%.
different, in which case you could completely do a treatment and have it be completely ineffective. So,
not to mention it's actually illegal because now you're treating for the wrong target pest per the label.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, I really like how Douglas, they have that Fumigide program, which makes it a really scientific approach to a control method, right? They're like, okay, we want to know the target species. We want to know what life stage you're treating. We want to know the half-loss of the structure. We want to know the volume.
Linear footage, all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and it's great information. And it produces these real-time information for you. And it's just such a great tool. I don't know why I feel like more of these different chemistries should have something similar to that.
Right. Agreed. Yeah.
We'll develop that app. Adam's on it.
I'm on it. Ready?
It just cost
we're talking. Yep.
It just cost $1 billion.
Just kidding. Right?
It just costs money. That's it.
I mean, I think we can sit here and they are, yeah, and I think we can sit here and talk about all this stuff all day long. I mean, I know we go on tangents, and that's why I love our podcast because we do go on tangents. So, I don't know, Shell, what's next?
That's not a tangent. That's perfectly relevant.
No, it is relevant. So, I'm sitting here in my mind thinking now we just need to get like a BCE from Douglas or like one of the fumigation things on our next podcast to follow this one.
Okay.
And kind of have like this whole little.
I'll talk to some of the folks there. Got it.
Talk to Angela. Isn't she? Oh no, that's right. She's no longer. Oh yeah, that's right.
She's at Tennessee now, so
that's right. Sorry.
We'll talk to Angela too. Don't worry, she's super awesome.
Yes. Yes.
No, our next popular question, of course, is what's your favorite bug?
Oh man, another loaded question.
Which is okay because mine changes every week, so feel free with your favorite bug of the moment.
Yeah, so I would have to say that I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm not going to go all the way down to species, but dermestid beetles are pretty cool. They got such a wide range. I feel like some of the adults, like the very carpet beetle, they have such a really pretty coloration.
Yes.
Their larvae, I feel like, are almost indestructible. I mean, they can we've had samples, and you don't feed them for years, and they're still kicking in these little vials, and they can kind of do regressive molting and kind of feed on their shed skins, and they're tough, pretty interesting species out there. They encompass stored products. You have like the hide beetles that kind of encompasses that forensic entomology. They're probably, I would consider, one of my favorites right now. I have a collection of hide beetles with some pet food bones sitting on a shelf right next to me.
There's a couple cool videos I use of dermestids breaking down skeletons and watching them like decimate the sample so it's down to the bones so they can use it for museums and stuff. Oh, it's so cool.
Yep. Yeah, and with working at Insects Limited, I got to do a lot of museum pest management, and that was a really interesting type of work. I mean, they have some of these collection items from Native American artifacts, wools, hides for hundreds of years old, and you think about this little tiny dermestid, they can do significant damage in a little bit of time, and they're just so hard to find. That's the whole part of this pest management. It's like it feels good to be able to go through a facility and be able to find a problem, be able to like physically point at it and be like, "Yep, that's the issue right there. I found it. Let's fix that." But that's always the most difficult part, right? Is truly finding where that problem might be occurring. But yeah, dermestids
find the source.
Right, they were the toughest ones to find.
My favorite this week is leafcutter ants, because I was having a great conversation with one of my contacts this week. I was at her site and we're talking about ants, and I'm like, "Oh, leafcutter ants!" and they're carrying their little piece of leaf, and it's so cute to watch that little trail go by. I love it. So that's my favorite of the week.
Oh, I guess it's my turn. My favorite.
No, I don't know if your favorite is always the same. You like?
No, I do like my lice. I know, because I love my lice, and I still am always, I think, permanently like infatuated with ectoparasites. So one of the ones that came to my mind this week was the carnid fly. So it's called Carnosemaptris. It's a blood-sucking saprophagous ectoparasitic fly, and they basically
say that 3 times fast.
Right. They feed on they basically feed on typically either a pileated woodpecker or an owl that occupies the same nest at different times of the year. And
they're that specific?
They're that specific, and to find them, like whenever I found my sample, somebody was cutting down a pine tree, and it was like a 200-foot high pine tree, and the nest was in the very top, so when it fell over, all these baby pileated woodpeckers came out, and they had them on the baby pileated woodpeckers.
Oops.
Whoa.
And so they gave them to me to identify, and I was like, oh my God. So I wrote a whole paper on it and did all this stuff, but they're super cool, and they're so intelligent. People sometimes don't give insects enough intelligence that they hatch the timing of the eclosion of the eggs with the different life cycles of the birds.
It's crazy.
So sorry, that's just my favorite one that came to mind now.
For anybody out there watching, I mean, you can do almost anything with that. Entomology spans so much. There's always something cool to learn. I had no clue about that, so that's so freaking awesome.
Yeah, there's so much out there. So many different industries, so much. Yeah, just it's really amazing to see the different types of areas some of these insects will. It's just crazy to me to kind of think about how one single insect species depends on another life form, and that's it, just a single species for its entire life cycle.
Right. So Ethan, I think the next question is, has the BCE benefited you? How has it benefited you? Like, we've literally had one person come on our podcast and say that it hasn't benefited them at all.
Yeah.
But only one so far out of our 11 episodes has actually said that. So,
and he still did mention that he appreciated it and was
100%. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I mean, it was kind of tough taking that exam that quickly. I guess in joining the industry, because like I mentioned, I was a biology major, not necessarily entomology, and then taking that exam just a few years later out of college. It was tough, but I think the BCE has really benefited me. It really sets you apart from the rest of the industry. It shows your competency in entomology, insects. So it's in my mind really benefited me throughout the last 10 years? Yeah, 10 years, 12, 11 years or so since I've had that.
We may be entomologists, but we're not math majors.
Speak for yourself. No, I'm just kidding. My mom was a math teacher, so I'm pretty good at math.
I know how to count bugs. I can do that.
Right. And I thought if you were usually pretty good at science, you were pretty good at math, right? Because like physics, like all that kind of stuff.
I guess it depends on the math. I've taken some pretty.
That is fair. Stuff. Yeah, because I mean, calculus is really not math. It's just a bunch of like weird things you're trying to put together.
Yeah.
Anywho, all right. So we've gotten through all the BCE stuff. Shell, what else do we have to ask?
That's kind of. I think we've run through most of it. I know we sort of already did this, but like any quick tips or tricks for those who are thinking of taking it in the near future?
Or final words or anything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really liked Adam's idea of just taking it, getting a sense of a feel for it. I wish that I did that first time, because there was a lot of anxiety kind of leading up. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. Am I even studying the right stuff? Because it is it's a very broad test, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that would be a really good recommendation. And like I said, flashcards. Yeah, flashcards were really helpful for me. I think that's just the type of learning that works best for me. And then just since I was driving around quite a bit for work, listening to those types of educational videos that talked about the different insect orders, what sets them apart, and doing that on a repetition really is beneficial.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? You're making me think about the orders, and I'm like, this came to my mind is that I don't think people realize how important like taxonomy is and like classification and like, the actual scientific name behind the common name, right? Because like a water bug could mean something different in Florida than it totally means in California, right? Because there's all these kind of geographic impressions of it. And so for everybody listening, like learning your taxonomy, learning all of that is extremely important. So if you're going to go down the entomology rabbit hole, like be able to like understand like, the difference between, all these different, genus and species.
Yeah, and it helps you identify species. And that's ultimately what we're kind of reiterating. That's, you want to start with the pest first. You want to identify that species, and kind of getting down to that level, working through a dichotomous key, seeing the different of leg segments for one species kind of differentiates that from another. So yeah, taxonomy is really, really good. There's an app that it's like a game app that helps with some of that, but that it is really helpful to kind of get down to species. It would kind of ask you these different questions, and you have to guess like which one it is, and then you just work all the way down to that species level.
You mentioned the dichotomous key, and I'm like, I wrote one just the other day for fun and made one to fleas, right? Because I was like, I'm going to make a key to the common fleas. But like, even when I taught Bio 2 for majors, that's one of the assignments I had them do is I was like, not only did they create a dichotomous key for whatever they wanted to do it for, but then they had to have their lab partner use the key to make sure it worked successfully, right? So it's a big kind of thing. If you're going to make one, make sure that somebody else can use it and replicate all the stuff in there. So
I did one on if you needed a board certified entomologist or not.
Ooh,
how did it work?
A good one.
It works.
Yeah. Did you share that like on LinkedIn?
I think I did, and I think it's still on my website, but I'll send it to you and we can post it.
Yeah, please. I love that. So
It's good. I like that.
All right. Anything else fun? Because we could just sit here and talk forever about bugs, but I know it's also Friday, and I'm sure Shell wants to go whine about it. So she wants to do that. That's her little. Yep. That's what. Well, no, that's what she does. Her little whine, right? So
I
she
get my
does.
glass of wine, and we whine about pest control. Yep.
Yeah. So she actually does that. So we need to probably start a little side thing of that, and I can join you at some point. Maybe I'll just drink a glass of. Do what?
Crossover episode.
Yeah, 100%. I don't drink a lot, but I'll drink a glass while we whine about it. So
sure. Yeah.
Anywho, all right, awesome sauce. Well, Ethan, thank you so much for being with us on this episode of the podcast. And again, thank you so much to FSS Fumigation Service Supply for sponsoring us. Thank you so much. All right. And again, happy Friday. And everybody, thanks again for joining us on this episode of the BCE podcast where there's no ifs, ands, or bugs about it. Have a good weekend.
Bye, folks.
Thanks, guys.
They're buggy, they're nerdy, they're talking 6 legs, buzzing on the airwaves with their field note pegs. From beetles to bees, they just can't get enough. Geeking out on bugs, yeah, the nerdy stuff. Not for fame, not for clout, just because they care. It's the Bugcast, boys and girls, science in the air.